Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dr. Baldy Knows Best. It's summertime and you know what that means, time for cold brew. We love our espresso and my kids all make espresso, but in the summer there's nothing like fresh homemade cold brew. We're going to show you how to do that. It's super easy. Takes one day to do it. You just got to grind some beans and have the right container to do it, but we'll show you all that. So this is a half gallon of concentrated cold brew. With the big batch we're going to make with 5 pounds of beans, we're going to end up with about 2.5 gallons worth of cold brew. And this is a concentrate, so you make it as concentrated as you like it. I do probably a half and half with ice and some, if I add a little cream or some water. Sometimes it comes out a little less, sometimes a little more. Just depends on how long you brew it for and how strong you like to make it. Since there's lots of us and we really like it, we're going to do the 5 pound batch. These brewing systems from Toddy are very economical and make incredible coffee. If you want to go less, this would be with a 12-ounce bag of coffee. And the container here, this is also a little Toddy coffee maker. So really easy way to do that if you want to try it out. And if you got a lot of coffee drinkers, then go with the 5-gallon bucket. So it's always good to start out with a nice bean. We're going to do 5 pounds. This is actually a cold brew one from Blackout Coffee. Love their coffee. And we're going to grind it. You want to grind it on a very coarse, like French press grind. So we've got our grinder set on the coarse side. Now for a 5 pound batch, you got to be careful if you're going to make it this big at home, because grinders will get overheated if you have kind of a small grinder. A lot of coffee places, if you buy coffee from them, they'll grind it for you, or you can buy it at the grocery store, which has a grinder. So obviously for a smaller batch, you don't have to worry about that. So we're just going to start grinding this. We'll see if it shoots into the bucket. We're going to give it a try anyway and hope it works. And otherwise, we'll have coffee everywhere. So it's going to vibrate and start to walk off. What's interesting is that grind, you can see the chaff that kind of comes out here. It's actually not a bad thing because it keeps it out of the mix. So I'm going to get my little vacuum and we'll clean this up. Now, I prepared the vessel with Sanitize it with Star San. My go-to when I'm ever doing anything that we're going to have liquid in for a while, whether that be making fermented peppers. I'll do that with all my apple cider jugs before I put apple cider. Do that for all the hot sauce bottles, but used in the wine and beer making industry. So it's a really easy solution. You mix up and then you just let it dry, and it sterilizes everything. The cold brew is going to last for probably 2 weeks in the refrigerator. So it doesn't last that long, but the cleaner and more sanitized you can make your equipment, the longer it's going to last for you. So we'll just keep going. Now this is going to brew for about 16 to 24 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it at room temperature, probably for about 14 to 16 hours. Actually, that warmer temperature extracts a little faster and a little nicer. It's a little smoother. Actually, a long cold brew session can make it kind of muddy. So we don't want to actually brew it real cold for a long time. So I'll actually initially do it at room temperature, and then I'll move it into the cold room probably for about 6 hours, kind of finish it off that way. Cold brew is wonderful because it's much lower in acid. If you check the pH, it's not going to be much different than coffee, but the perceived acidity is much less, and the acidic compounds that are in there that really can upset some people's stomach with their GERD and indigestion. A lot of people can tolerate cold brew, especially if you get a good bean. I'm using a medium roast. I added about a pound of dark roast just to give a little extra complexity. This will be a concentrate. So it's going to be about 1/3 cold brew to 2/3 water and ice. And you get to dilute it to how you like it. So if you like it a little stronger, you're going to obviously add less ice. Doesn't have as much bitterness either. So if you're someone that puts a lot of sugar and cream in your coffee, you can often get away with a lot less. The one thing that is interesting is the hot water does extract out more oils and more antioxidants. So this will have a little less of those health benefit of the antioxidants, but coffee is actually pretty good for you. You don't want to drink too much of it, but cold brew is a nice way to mix it up. So we'll start grinding this some more. Don't want to overheat the grinder, but it's doing good so far. Well, after we get this in here, we'll add some water. We'll stir it a little bit, add some more water. And then I marked a line of where I want to keep the water. I write the recipe on these in Sharpie, so I don't have to go back and find the recipe. This is a 5-pound big batch. What I'll do is after 4 to 6 hours, I'll gently go in there and stir it a little bit and just turn over those grounds a little bit. So you have this liner that the coffee goes in, and then this little guy goes on the bottom, and it will keep that off the bottom. So when you're finally pouring this out, it can drip down, and then you'll be able to extract it a lot better. I didn't have one for quite a while, and it was always a pain getting the coffee out because this bag was on the bottom. So having it raised up has really been nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably fill this about 1/3 of the way with water, and then we'll come back and fill it up. Make sure you close that guy. Okay, we're back at it. We added some water in there. I got my stir that we'll use once we get more water in there, but we'll get back to grinding. Okay, we're finished grinding all that. We'll clean up the grinder, and I'm going to go fill this up to the water line. It's probably about 4.5 gallons or so. We'll put it in here and we'll start it brewing. When you're outside, you can clean up the quicker way. While you're adding water, you're just going to want to stir and get the coffee to break apart. It really wants to mat up, so put some water in. Put some water in and gently stir off the sides and break it up. It's been about 18 hours since we put the grounds in and then filled it with water. I've stirred it several times, just kind of moving around the grounds because they tend to clump up, and seems like we got a good extraction. We've tried some of it, and it's really delicious. Pretty concentrated, so probably have to cut it down about half with ice and water for each one. Now we're gonna just put it in jars. I like to put it in the half-gallon mason jars when we weigh a lot because we make such a large amount. What's really interesting is these different jars. So we have a couple of manufacturers. Probably the most common one you're going to see out there is Ball. We're just going to weigh these. This one weighs 749 grams. This is one that I don't see any markers who makes it, but it's a nice, heavy, sturdy duty one. That one's 780 grams. And then Azure Standard is a pretty incredible company out of Eastern Oregon, and they have drops in communities where the truck will bring all your supplies. You can't really order from them to ship to your house. You get on a drop list, and we probably do that every 2 weeks. They have incredible products, a lot of organic stuff. You can get fresh things, a lot of bulk. They have a lot of their own products, really an incredible company, but they actually make their own jars, and they're nice and heavy duty and really pretty. I think that's Mount Hood on there. And this one is 770 grams. But 4 jars is really the most amazing jar that we have. This, you just pick it up and it is beefy. They have the most famous canning lids. Their canning lids are incredible, but they came out with a line of jars, so you can just feel the quality in this. and this one's 910 grams. So 150 grams more than 10% more glass in this jar than the ball. And balls are fine, but they crack. And so if you really want a mason jar, your grandchildren could probably inherit and then give to their grandchildren. I would get the 4 jars. So we're just going to fill these up. I sanitize them as well. And we're just going to fill them up. And that is beautiful cold brew. Wow, just got beautiful aroma. It's really clean, low acid, incredible for the summer. Put it over ice, make a nitro if you got the equipment. But go ahead, try to make some cold brew. Your family will enjoy it, as will you.